Hello, listeners of The Next Big Thing. I'm thrilled to welcome our guest today. He is a highly acclaimed composer, songwriter, producer, a 5-time ASCAP Plus Award winner, and he has just shared that just this year alone, he's won 5 Global Music Awards. So, award-winning, acclaimed musician with wonderful stories and anecdotes to share. I'm sure. Please welcome Jeff Eisenberg. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm great, Shem. It's really great to be here. And you set the bar very high with that introduction. Boy, I'll tell you, I have to live up to that intro.
No, well, it's all, it's all part of your, story. So I'm really proud that you agreed to be part of this show. So thank you. And how are things in New Jersey?
Things are fine. We're celebrating Labor Day weekend here in the States, and it's still summer, and it's still warm, and a lot of outdoor things going on, and all is good here.
Fantastic. That sounds very nice. And for once, I can, in Melbourne, it's very moody with weather, but today we have a fantastic day. I went in the morning to drop my daughter to school, and gosh, it was such a beautiful walk. And so I can, say, hey, it's the same here. Spring has started in Melbourne, so it's beautiful.
Yeah, Melbourne's beautiful. Been there and look forward to going back.
Yes, and we were talking about that. And apart from music, and we'll get into music in a minute, that you have this wonderful fascination for the sport of tennis, which I do as well.
I certainly do. And as we speak, the US Open is going on in Flushing Meadow in New York. And been following and watching some of the matches, and it's always exciting to kind of do that.
Any favorite tennis players, either past era or present?
Oh my gosh. How long is the podcast?
So how much time do we have?
I'm a big fan of Coco Gauff. I think this could be her year. She has probably will be facing Iga Swiatek in the quarters, which is unfortunate because that would have been a really good finals. But I think this could be Coco's year.
Could be Coco's year. What is she, just 17, 18?
She's 19.
19, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like she's been around for 4 years, which she has. I think she started when she was like 15.
15, yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, she's gifted. Prodigious talent.
For sure.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's see what the story unfolds, and we'll keep an eye on that. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So podcast, how the tradition that we follow on The Next Big Thing is that we get the guests to share 2 things about themselves, and one is fact and one is a fib, one is fiction, and you know which one's which. I don't. So you can unleash your 2 statements when you're ready.
Sure. Well, speaking of tennis, I am actually a pretty good tennis player. I still play. I play 3 times a week, and love the game, and still enjoy it very, very much.
Okay.
And in addition to that, I have a real love also for playing the drums. And I would say I play the drums just about every day, much to the chagrin of my next door neighbors. They always seem to hear when I'm practicing and playing my drum kit.
Oh my God, this is a tough one, because I'll tell you what, I've noticed certain trends. So generally for fact, people give more detail, and the fib is just like a little sentence. And you've provided equal detail for both of them. And you've done that with the same expression. I don't know if someone's told you this, but you've got this poker thing going on. Gosh, that's really hard.
You have a 50-50 shot here. So
I do. It's like genuinely 50-50.
Go for it, dude.
And I don't have a lifeline either. Oh my God. All right, I'm just going to have to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say you threw me off with the tennis fact. And you do have a thing for drumming, much to the chagrin of your neighbors, was it?
That's correct.
Yeah, I think that's fact.
The drumming's a fact. Dude,
Yeah, got
got
it.
it.
I got
Got
it.
it.
Oh, you're very convincing. Like when you said the first fact, I was like, first statement, I was like, yeah, this is fact. And then the second one, like, oh, he's really thrown me off here. This is good, Jeff. You're really good at this. Okay, so tell us about that. So do you still actively drum and perform on the drums, or?
It's really actually it's become therapeutic for me, to be
Mm,
quite honest with you. I'm basically a writer, composer, and I have a keyboard, I have
mm,
guitar,
mm,
but just to kind of let loose, relax, and in
mm.
a very chill kind of therapeutic way. I
Yeah,
just enjoy playing the drums. I'll put my headphones on. I'll just go to some sort of
yeah,
playlist on Spotify, whatever I'm into. It
yeah,
could be classic rock, it could be jazz, it could be whatever
yeah.
my mood dictates. And I just enjoy doing that for maybe an hour a day.
Fantastic. And but none of it makes its way to a produced track or an album.
This is purely for fun.
Purely for fun. God, that's amazing. Yeah, I wish I could do
Yeah.
that. I don't have known skill sets in drumming. We'll see what life throws my way. But I take it out on the shuttlecock. Every week on Thursday, I play badminton,
Cool.
and I just smash the life out of it.
Those are right, right. That's those are your drumsticks.
Those are my drumsticks. Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, so fantastic career. Spread over what now? Two, 3 decades? Would you say?
Yeah, started doing music for kids back
Mm,
in the early 90s.
mm,
And did that for about 20 some odd years,
mm,
25 years. We performed live,
mm,
recorded 4 albums, and
mm.
had a lot of fun playing music for young kids.
Fantastic. So I would really like to know that. So when I read your bio and I came across your work, because you've done a lot of work in that kid space, in the children's music or whatever the genre is called. What drew you to that genre?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, I, as a profession, I was a speech pathologist and
Oh, cool.
worked with young kids who were challenged and had various issues, both related to speech and language.
Mm,
And I always wrote music, even when I was a kid, just to kind of have fun and to play and to sort
mm,
of be in my little fantasy world. So I always kind of did that and had
mm,
that.
mm,
And at some point early in my speech and language career, I just decided, what if I just, make up some songs to help with teaching of language concepts or speech concepts or all kinds of aspects related to my profession. And
mm.
so I started to create and write songs that I would use in the therapy setting to kind of try to
Wow.
motivate kids, get them interested, and work on whatever issues and weaknesses they had.
That is such a beautiful thing. So it started from a therapy perspective, wanting to help the kids. And then a lot of that resulted in produced, recorded, and released work that I'm
It
sure not
was,
just,
yeah,
yeah, and I'm sure
it
not just
was.
entertained, but also helped
Mhm.
with the therapy, helped, spread.
Hopefully it was helpful. Yeah. So it was a process. It just
Mm.
really started as something that I did in the therapeutic setting
Yeah,
that, I didn't think about recording music initially. I didn't
yeah,
think about, performing certainly,
yeah,
but it kind of evolved
yeah,
and progressed into that eventually.
yeah. No, so my wife and I were very passionate about children, and we have one. And yesterday was Father's Day in Australia. I don't know if that kind of, yeah, maybe it's an Australian thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was good fun being spoiled and having some attention.
Sure. Why not?
But yeah, children, they develop in such interesting ways. And my daughter's musical, thankfully, and she is taken to dance, and that's not from my side of the family. But it's just wonderful to see her expressing herself and connecting with music. and I think it'll hold her in good stead as life
Absolutely.
takes her in
Absolutely.
different directions. So great. I'm really, it's a noble thing that people do. A lot of times we do music just for ourselves, and which is okay, which is completely okay. But once we add more people into this, the beneficiary circle, and the larger that circle gets, it's really rewarding. It's really fulfilling, I find. Do you agree?
It can be. It was certainly
Yeah.
when I did it.
Right. Right.
You could see how my students would perk up
Mm,
and not really realizing that maybe they were also learning something along the way in the
mm,
process. It
mm.
was like a subtle learning going on because they were really into the music or the song that I was either singing or
Yeah.
teaching them, but it was sort of like a left-handed backroom way
Yeah.
of getting into education, really, and
Of course.
educating
Yeah.
and helping students with with their needs.
Fantastic. No, great to see. Great to see. And along the journey, you've been richly deserved recognition has come your way in the form of multiple awards, be it the ASCAP Plus Awards, 5 of them, I think. And just this year alone, I think there's 5 Global Music Awards. And along the journey, there's many, many more. And how does recognition and awards feel? Is it validation, or is it just another thing for you? How does it work for you?
That's interesting. So, songwriting, composing, doing art could be a very solitary, lonely thing.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's a natural expression, it's a passion, wherever it comes from, that's part
Yeah,
of you that you're
yeah.
expressing. And so it could be isolating at times and lonely. And so
Mm,
when you do get some sort of peer recognition or professional recognition, it is gratifying. It
mm,
is fulfilling. It sort of says, okay, yeah, maybe this has some resonance, some meaning, something positive is happening here. So it propels you forward and it makes you feel good about what you're doing.
excellent, excellent, fantastic. No, good to hear. Good to hear. Now, of course, I mean, we talked about your children's music. We've talked about the accolades that have come your way, and as I said, for me, again, as a musician, I want to share my music, which helps me get out of that solitary space that you mentioned. Connecting. I like that word. When I perform, I get to connect. When I get recognition, again, it's a validation of, oh, okay, it reached out. My music reached out and, touched someone's heart somewhere. So great to hear that. So children's music, and then you forayed into, a few other genres. I believe your last release is, I think, Americana is what they say, High Five in Hearts. Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Technically, it was Americana. There's a little country-ish kind of
yeah.
combination with it. We've gotten to a point where it's hard to designate the genre of what we're doing because there's just this cross-pollination going on, which is beautiful. I
Which
love
is
the fact
awesome.
that you can't just simply categorize music
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
It's everything, it's anything, it's whatever
yeah,
you want it to be.
yeah.
It's just more of a global kind of interconnected phenomenon. I love that's
Sure.
what's happening.
Yeah.
um but yeah, so that was our last release last year. And yeah, so the song is on all the digital platforms. It had gotten some good reviews. I'm very happy with it, but I've
Yeah.
kind of moved to a different space for this current album that I'm working on now.
Mm, mm.
And it's an album of instrumental pieces,
Right.
and it's the first time I've done that
Uh-huh.
as just a composer and not a songwriter.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. That is wonderful. And I mean, maybe it's early days. Are you able to share some more information about your album and the space it kind of
Sure.
comes in?
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to. So I'm working with wonderful 3-time Grammy Award-winning producer Lonnie Park,
Mm.
who's just a joy to work with, a very
Nice.
talented guy.
Nice.
And so Lonnie and I are in the process of working on and finishing this album, which
Mm.
hopefully will be ready sometime maybe over the winter, I think,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
thereabouts,
Okay.
perhaps next spring. But we're still slowly plodding along. But very happy with what is happening with it, and it's a concept album.
Mm,
It's
mm,
it has sort of a narrative attached to
mm.
it,
Love it.
and yeah, and so
Mm,
I'm excited about it.
No, I love it when there's a theme or a narrative that sort of ties, all the pieces in an album together. I don't think I've created one, but it's always sort of floated around going, what if? Okay. So now, let's talk about the Grammys actually. So, as you know, I got a wonderful birthday gift this year when I finally received an email after digging it out of spam that the Academy had, accepted me as a voting member. So it felt very validating so yesterday I completed, no, sorry, day before yesterday, I completed 23 years in the music scene as a musician, singer, songwriter. And I was just reflecting back on the journey. And it was wonderful to have this little, thing come through. So I'm very excited about being a Grammy voting member, and a lot of, including yourself, have made me feel very welcome and warm. Talk to me about, how long have you been a Grammy voting member for? Talk to me about what it's like to be a voting
Mhm.
member at the Recording Academy, and what is it like to attend the Grammys? What is all that
Yeah.
like?
It's very cool on all fronts. I've been actually a voting member for almost now, it's crazy, but it's almost 15 years.
Ooh.
I started when I was doing music for kids,
Mm,
and yeah, and right through this day.
mm,
And what I really love about being a voting member is, and it's kind of starting now this time of the year, is
mm,
everybody is sending me their works, their
mm,
submissions.
mm.
They're very excited about what they've done, what they've created,
Yeah,
and they're wanting you to listen, and they want
yeah.
to share it with you, and so I just love listening to all this great
Wow,
music
wow,
from all over the world, literally. Some
wow.
people I know, some people I never heard of, some
Mm,
it's every day, several times a day, and my inbox is full of, FYCs, for
mm,
your considerations, and
mm.
please listen, we're submitting this, in all different kinds of genres,
Yeah,
and I just love that part of being a voting
yeah.
member.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I can't wait. Somebody gave me the advice to have a separate inbox. So I created a new email address. It was very exciting with FYC in the email address. And I was like, wow, this is good. And sure enough, lots of people have written to me. There's a lot of music that I am listening through slowly but surely, but there's a huge catch-up list. So I'm having to maintain an Excel sheet of things that I want to listen to and, and be organized
Yeah,
with it. So
sure.
it it is very interesting, I must say.
It is. It's a little frustrating in the way it's set up, so that we can only choose at this point in time,
Mm,
as a voting member of the Academy, three categories
mm,
to vote for.
mm,
So that's always difficult
mm,
because there may be several pieces that you think are just really special and
mm,
wonderful,
mm,
but they're in disparate categories, and you have to eventually decide which of these categories can I
mm,
vote for, do I want to vote for?
mm,
And
mm,
unfortunately, it's only three in
mm,
addition to the four that we all
mm.
vote for.
So my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, is 10 fields in three categories. Is that correct? Is that how it works?
Well, there are subfields in the
Yeah,
categories, yeah.
yeah.
So,
So global would be a category, but then there's global music album and global music performance.
exactly, performance and
Yeah.
album and song, and yeah.
Yeah.
So it's three of the umbrella categories that do have subcategories. Yeah,
Ah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's it.
All of this information right now is theory for me because I haven't experienced it. So, but
You will soon.
I wrote to the Academy and they sent me all these wonderful. They're very responsive, and they give me the right um, answers that I need. So it was very good. It's very good. And recently, on the 1st of September, I had not a panic attack, but it's just a realization that, oh, have I submitted properly? Then I went back through the emails and I said, yeah, I think the Academy said you're in. So
Cool.
relax.
Well, good
Good.
luck with that submission. I heard the song, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was yeah, it's a song that has personal relevance to me. So I'm an only child. I was in New Zealand with my parents, and then moved to Australia to do an MBA from the Melbourne Business School. And I moved in January, which was like I was in heaven, because as you know where I'm going with this, is because it was Australian Open time.
The Open.
And I was like, wow, what is this place? So I fell in love with Melbourne, and then I decided not to go back to New Zealand, and then I got married, and so it was hard on my mother. But even though we're close, we kind of didn't express it as much. And then you know what musicians do, they just write songs about everything. So we so I decided to write it as a song. And then I thought to myself, hang on, this can't be just us, right? Must be happening to many mothers, the empty nest moment. So I started performing the song a lot. And every time I performed it live, mothers would cry, and some children as well. And the running joke is, next time you perform the song, can you please provide some tissues as well? So so I realized, oh, this is having reasonable impact. So yeah, it's just nice to put it out as a Grammy submission. So
absolutely, your first one, hopefully first of many.
Thank you, thank you. As a voting member, yeah. So last year, a very kind person did submit my album and work, so I kind of had a taste for what it felt like, and I resolved that, okay, I've got to be a voting member. I can't do this. I can't depend on someone's kindness. So and then that came through as well. So I was happy.
That's great.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So, I'm keen to know from you. Music is hard. A lot of people, they give up, when they want to express themselves. And of course, I get the same amount of satisfaction singing in the shower as I have singing in front of thousands on stage. But this clarity wasn't always there. A lot of times I have gone chasing applause. And other factors come in. So the bouquets have come. Oh yes, so have the brickbats. And so how does a musician travel this roller coaster of emotions?
Well, some of this is really personality based. I think
Sure.
I'm fortunate to not get too high, not get too low in
Oh,
general.
you're a
I
realized
do.
musician.
I do get bummed. No, don't get me wrong, when
Yeah.
things aren't going well, or disappointed in some rejection of some kind, which we all have been rejected many times if we're doing this, at all, as musicians or writers.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately it's about belief. It's just about believing that you have something to offer, believing in yourself, believing in your self-worth. And again, we're gonna, it could be like sort of analogous to a tennis match. You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
win every game, you don't win every point,
Yeah.
you don't win every set,
Mm.
and you don't win every match.
No.
But if you
Yeah.
believe in your ability and you
Yeah.
believe what you can do, then obviously you're there for the next one, and hopefully you'll make your mark and do better.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. So interestingly, apart from music, and I shared my purpose, life's purpose with you, and I wear a few other hats. I also speak, so I'm an inspirational speaker, and I get the opportunity to speak to a lot of young people and inspire them towards goal setting and developing role models that you can actually get inspired from, not just admire, but get inspired, do something with your own life. And I have to paint the picture to them, and to your point, that even if it's a Roger Federer, even if it's a Novak, even if it's a Rafa, yes, we talk about how many Grand Slams they've won, but technically they've played a lot more Grand Slams than they won, which means they've lost a lot more than they won. And even Ronaldo, how many shots and goals would he have missed, right? So you often fail more than you succeed, and that's just the way it is. And it's a good lesson. It puts less pressure on.
Yeah, it's really about your life's journey, and it's about how you just deal with setbacks along the way, what you take from those losses, those disappointments, how you can move on and continue, and sort of be mindful of what has transpired and kind of turn it around to your
Yeah.
benefit in some way.
100%. And for me, I've had, the 20s was very, ambitious and raging and fire burning, and you want to, conquer the world and all of that stuff. But later, as the years grew by, I think just with my own evolution and good mentors, I have learned to appreciate the importance of, as you said, being in the middle, rather than sort of the highs. If you seek the highs, you will get the lows. It's inevitable. But I think the middle is a beautiful space to be in. And I received a lot of support from mentors to help me get into that space. So yeah, well, some days though can be a bit tricky. So,
Sure.
Okay, all right. But this actually leads into my, Jeff, I'd love to. We'll keep going, and hopefully we'll have some offline banter after this. But it brings me to the very last question of the podcast, which always stays the same. But because it's from your perspective, the answers might be different. And I want to know from you, Jeff, according to you, what is a must-have? And you can say more than one if you wish. Must-have, non-negotiable really, for someone to become the next big thing in any field, but you can talk music if that's comfortable. So one non-negotiable, one must-have, according to you.
Yeah. Wow. It's a tough one, of course. You have to really stick out, stand out, establish some kind of space or offer some kind of thing that either no one else has or that no one else has quite done it that way. Sort of moving the needle forward in some way for some benefit. I don't want to get back into the tennis vernacular, but why is Alcaraz the next best thing?
Yeah.
It's because he somehow moves that needle forward in his ability and in his athleticism and his approach. He just seems at this point to be a notch above at a very early age all these other great players. So in any industry, in any field, in the arts, it's kind of establishing something in a beautiful way, offering it to the world and having it received, but it's something that's different, that's unique, that's special, unlike maybe everything else before.
So own a space where you can stand out, move the needle, and create something that is you. That is,
I think, yeah. It's sort of, to use a commercial term, which I really don't like, it's sort of like you're branding yourself in a very unique and special way. And I don't like that term, but it came to mind because you're establishing something unique and different about yourself.
There's another term which I don't like either, and it's in the speaker circuit. It's not in the music. It's expert positioning, and I think it's a bit limiting. But anyway, okay, no, that's good though. I think creating your own space, because I've realized this. I started my music imitating other musicians. I was initially singing covers because they came very easily to me, and I could sound like that other person. And when someone came to me and said, "Oh, you sound exactly like the original," I felt very happy. And then I realized, mate, you need to be the original, not sound like the original. And that's a lesson I learned a bit later.
I mean, it sounds trite, like be yourself, but because we're all unique and we're all different. So somehow, whatever you're offering, whatever that ability is, whatever that talent is, just do it in your own personal, unique way.
Yeah, sounds good. No, thank you. It's only recently that as a musician, I've had my version of the roller coaster, but wisdom and life has taught me to be comfortable in my own skin. Nothing else fits, to be honest, and and I've enjoyed that, and I'm enjoying that in my music, in my other things. So thank you for reminding us of that point, and thank you for your time, Jeff. I know it's night. You said it's a weekend, Labor weekend, but still, regardless, you spared your time for us. So thank you very, very much.
It's my pleasure, Sharon. My pleasure.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Take care, man.